taught you that if it feels hard, you are doing it right. You are on the right track. But nobody told you there are two kinds of hard. One grows your capacity and one drains your capacity. One is energizing and one is exhausting AF. And for many high achieving women that I coach who have been overworking for years, they feel almost identical on the inside. And it takes a little bit of digging to identify which one it is. I know this because I lived it myself. I used fear and anxiety to build my business for years. And when the fear dropped, I panicked. I thought I had lost my drive and my motivation and desire to create what I wanted. But what I actually had lost was the noise, the chatter, the loud voice in my head coming from fear and anxiety. And when I found underneath it, and what I found underneath it changed everything for me and for all my future clients to come. The popular teaching about discomfort and growth is not wrong, but it's incomplete for overworking women. And the reason it's incomplete is because not too many people understand the power of what thoughts and feelings drive your actions and the impact on the result and that what that creates. So there are two types of discomfort. The first one is coming from desire, coming from motivation, coming from and just the wanting of something different, that knowing and trust and faith that you, my dear, can create something different. The second one is the one that I find all the time with my clients, with fear, anxiety, scared, pressure, force. And they both create something very different. Because, like I teach my clients all the time, the way that you think and you feel is what you're going to create in the results line. The discomfort of growth is amazing. It stretches you. It expands your capacity. It allows you to see what is possible. It's an aliveness underneath the effort that you can feel. And you can spend 8 hours working, 10 hours working, doing a lot and still feeling energized at the end of it. Your capacity grows. It feels like you're lifting weights and you feel so much better at the end. Of course, there's a normal fatigue, but you cannot wait to do it again. It's you expanding the edge of what you are capable with to do, capable of, and you consistently will keep it in your life because it feels good. It's that just putting your head down at the end of the day, knowing you did an amazing and phenomenal job, and you cannot wait to jump up and do it again the next time. The second one is the exhaustion of depletion, of dread, of fear, of urgency, of proving, of anxiety, of worrying about the worst case scenario and trying to avoid that, worrying and thinking about labels and judgments and other people's opinions and trying to avoid that. What this unconsciously does, it shrinks and robs you of your capacity. It feels like running from something rather than towards something. It feels like you are the urgency and the importance of doing something so that something bad cannot happen, whether it's a label, it's a title, it's a judgment, or the worst case scenario that your brain is playing. And the thing that happens is when you're coming from the exhaustion of depletion, you are so exhausted that you cannot rest. And the chatter in your brain when you try to rest is never ending. For women who have been overworking for years, both feel like hard work. And unconsciously, that is the trap. Because if we're watching two people doing the same actions, person one who's doing it from this discomfort of growth, from this stretch, from this aliveness, from this desire, from this motivation, from this determination, the action line will look exactly the same. What they're doing will look exactly the same. But the results and what they create in the world will be very, very different because it will reflect their thought, their feeling, their action cycle. When the second client who's coming from exhaustion of depletion, from fear, dread, urgency, proving, needing to earn an emotion, they can do the exact same actions, but the results is the telling. The results will also only be a fraction of what the other person has. And then they'll also have exhaustion. They'll also need breaks. They'll also need to just take a lot of time off because of how it feels. And remember, the results are going to be a fraction of what is possible. And this is what disheartens a lot of my clients. For women who have been overworking for years, I want you to remember that they mistake the second part as working hard because that's all they have ever known. That's all they saw their mothers, their grandmothers, and the women around them do. That's all the hustle culture has taught them until their body finally gives up and quits and tells them the way that you're going about it is wrong. And that's the only time I see the brain buy into the different narrative of what real hard work is. And so for me, I've done this work for almost 10 years. I've been doing this work for a long time. And I also unconsciously on the and underneath all this work, I wasn't even aware. I was still using fear, dread, and anxiety until I did the work, the healing work, that those emotions fell off. And I didn't have, because they were motivating me. The fear of the worst case scenario was motivating me. The fear of what could go wrong was motivating me. So when that fell off, I realized what motivated me now. See, the fear and the anxiety was my fuel. I used it as my fuel. It worked, but it was dirty fuel. I use the analogy all the time with my clients about driving a luxury car and fueling it with premium gas, premium gasoline, and maintenance, and all the prescribed manufacturer maintenance. That car will last so much longer and run so much better for the long haul than a car that was you put cheap fuel into it and you don't maintain it. Yeah, it'll get you where you want to go, but it'll only last so long. So for me, when I understood when the fear and anxiety as fuel dropped away, I was confused. I actually even panicked and realized what was happening. I actually had used my own coaching to myself because I'm my number one best client. And then I understood what was underneath it and what was driving it. And so then I decided, okay, now that I don't have the worst case scenario, now that I don't have the fear, now that I don't have something going wrong, why else would I want to still do the same work? Why else would I want to show up? Why else would I be this coach that I want to be? I chose the desire, my purpose in life, why I chose to do this work in the very first place. I chose my compelling reason why. I got so crystal clear my compelling reason why. And then more energy than I used to have when I was using fear and anxiety came back to me. And I was energized in a way that is beautiful. And now I work so much harder than I ever did because I'm not using that fuel to manage fear and anxiety and other emotions in the worst case scenario. I'm using that energy as fuel to generate what I want to generate in the world. And so this distinction matters so much. This distinction is what I've tried so hard to teach my clients and is what I want people to understand in their core, the difference between the two. I am uncomfortable because I am growing, or am I uncomfortable because I am depleted? Ask yourself those questions. Check in and be very honest with yourself. And there are two ways that you're going to know. The first way is when you're just growing from desire, you're going to be energized and you're going to be doing the uncomfortable growing work. When it comes from depletion and anxiety and fear and dread, you will be more exhausted. The second way to know is the results that you are creating. If you're creating the income, the success, the money, the experiences that you want, you most likely growing from the desire to grow, from the determination to grow. If you are going, but my effort does not match my hard work, you, my friend, are using the exhausting angle. You're using exhausting thoughts, feelings, some actions, and thus creating an exhausting result. It's not about avoiding hard work for my clients. My clients are the ones who are going to do the hard work. My clients are the ones who are going to show up. It's about knowing what kind of hard you are unconsciously doing. So if your drive feels more like dread than desire, take my quiz. If your effort does not, if your results does not match your effort, you're working probably harder than other people you know, take my quiz. It's called What's Really Driving Your Overworking. In 3 minutes, it will let you know what you are unconsciously doing and why you're unconsciously exhausted. The link is in my bio. My name is Ruth Duren. I'm a certified life coach, master coach trained, an MBA, and I help immigrant businesswomen create the life they want without unnecessary exhaustion and depletion that comes from using the wrong thought, feeling, action model. If you love my support, I'd love to support you. The link is in my bio, and I'll see you next week. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.